YouTube. I just wanted to do kind of a quick video. I've had a rough couple of weeks. I ended up with an infection on my arm, and I got prescribed a medication for it that I turned out to be allergic to, and I've just been genuinely miserable for a couple of weeks, and it's really hard to motivate yourself to do anything that you're supposed to do, let alone, you know, doing stuff like this where I'm doing something I enjoy. Like, I can barely do anything that I have to do, let alone taking the time to enjoy anything when I'm miserable, so I just hadn't gotten the chance to. I kind of wanted to talk about it, though. So I ended up taking a medicine called Bactrim, which is a sulfa medicine, which is an antibiotic, if you don't know. And I really should have been more careful, because I knew that, like, my grandmother, my grandpa, and my grandpa's entire family is allergic to it. But I had never had an allergic reaction to anything before, so I just kind of ended up taking it and was like, I'll be fine. I was not fine. And what really sucked was the fact that after a day of taking it, I knew something was off. I was just itchy, I was uncomfortable, there was something wrong. But I didn't trust my own judgment and knowing my body well enough to know when something wasn't okay. And so I kind of talked to my mom about it. I talked to a couple of, like, my other family members and a friend, and I was like, I just don't know. I feel like maybe I should talk to my doctor. Maybe it's an allergic reaction. And everyone was kind of like, it's probably not an allergic reaction. You're probably fine. Did you change, like, soaps recently? Did you do this? Did you do that? And I was like, I might have, but I don't feel like that's what's going on. I think I should just talk to my doctor. And I didn't do that. I kind of let their opinions get to me. And then I actually started breaking out into hives. And you'd think that that would be my sign to call my doctor and stop taking the medicine. But no, because somebody, not gonna say who, but actually 3 somebodies said that I was being a hypochondriac. And me, like, I try to be self-confident, and I try to believe in myself and, like, know enough about myself to know when I'm, like, overreacting to something. Like, even if I can't stop myself from overreacting, a lot of times, like, I know on some level that it's not as bad as I'm making it seem. But this time I kind of felt like I was reacting appropriately. I felt like I knew what I was saying, and I was like, I don't feel like this is okay. I think these are actual hives. I think I'm actually having this allergic reaction. But someone saying that I was a hypochondriac made me really second guess myself. And so I ended up taking another dose of the medicine that I ended up being allergic to. And it got worse. I had trouble falling asleep. I felt like my throat was tight. I felt itchy, and like the hives were getting worse. And then I woke up the next morning and the hives were getting worse. They were spreading. And so I finally was like, okay, listen, because I went to my mom and I said, hey, listen, I know this is an allergic reaction. I don't think it anymore. I know it has to be an allergic reaction. If I call my doctor and they ask me to come in, will you take me to the doctor? Because I need you to back me up on this and not, you know, say I'm a hypochondriac or something like that. I need you to be, like, there for me. And she was like, yeah, I think you're right. And so I did. And I ended up going in, and they were like, yeah, you must be allergic to that, because this is the exact kind of allergic reaction people with this allergy get. It's exactly the way that you're describing it and the way we're seeing it. So we switched me, but because it was still in my system and because I had taken that last fucking dose, I'm still coming off of the effects of it, because the half-life of it is, you know, because I actually looked into how the half-life of a drug works, and basically it's, the best way I can explain it is, after after the half-life of it passes, that's when 50% of it's out of your system. And that's how they base dosages on like how often you take it and at what dose, and that's how they figure out the prescription levels of things. Because of how fast it goes out of your system. And for this, it was about 10 to 12 hours. And so, because I had taken that last dose instead of trusting myself and knowing I shouldn't have, I ended up worsening my symptoms and prolonging the discomfort that I'm in. And so, even though I didn't take another dose after a couple nights ago, I'm still miserable because it's not totally out of my system yet. And even when it is totally out of my system, it might take a little while for like all the symptoms to go away. And I had one of the worst nights last night. I could not sleep. I was so uncomfortably itchy, and I was frustrated because I was like, it's been more than 24 hours since I last took it. You'd think that by now it would be out of my system enough that like my symptoms would be lessening, but apparently for a lot of people, hives get worse at night. And so I was just so uncomfortable, and finally I got myself to sleep, and I only was able to stay asleep for less than 2 hours, like an hour and 45 minutes. And then I woke up because of how itchy and uncomfortable I was, which is so weird for me. I am good at plenty of things, but the thing I'm probably the best at is staying asleep once I'm asleep. I am not a light sleeper. I can sleep through a lot of shit, and I have. But, you know what? Hold on a second. Sorry, the lighting was like, and I just wanted to fix that. Sorry, but no, I was so miserable. I woke up and I couldn't sleep, and I'm never like that. I sleep really well. Like, I have trouble falling asleep. Like, I've always had an issue because of my issues in my life. I have trouble falling asleep because it's just hard for me to lay down and wind down enough where I'm not like just like replaying, not even like replaying stuff in my head. Like, I don't actually do that a ton. Like, I don't give myself like an anxiety about what happened during the day, like when I try to go to sleep. My problem is I lay down and my brain is like, let's play 3 lines of a song you don't even like over and over and over again while you try to fall asleep. And then I can't fucking fall asleep. But the one thing I've never had a problem with is once I'm asleep, I can stay asleep like a motherfucker. I really can. I can just freaking sleep. And sometimes I have trouble getting up in the morning a little bit, but like not terribly. So I can get up if I want to, but if I don't want to be awake, if I'm trying to sleep through something, I can sleep through really loud storms. I can sleep through my family fighting with each other. I've had to do that before. I can sleep through basically anything, like loud noises, construction outside my house. I can do it. I am a pretty heavy sleeper. So the fact that the itching was so freaking bad that it woke me up and I could not fall back asleep pissed me off. I was so angry, and I didn't know what to do because I didn't have anything in the house to like, I didn't have like a calamine lotion. I didn't have like a Benadryl cream. Like, I had nothing. I was just screwed. And I don't have that happen very often. There have been a total of, including last night, there have been a total of 2 times in my life. So technically before this, there has been 1 time in my life where I could not stay asleep after I went to sleep. And that was like a year and a half ago almost now. And other than that, like, I never have that happen. And so anytime it does, I get really mad because I just, there's nothing for me to do about it, and I'm not used to it. And so I just kind of wanted to talk about it because A, it was going on, and B, it just like, it pisses me off looking at it now, because if I had just trusted myself and trusted that I knew what was best for me and knew what my body's reaction should be to something or shouldn't be, or if something was wrong, I would be much better off than I am now. So do that. Like, if you feel like you're reacting to something badly, if your body is telling you that something is not good or you're not well, don't ignore it. I know it sucks, and I'm gonna say this. I totally understand how easy it is to like not take care of something that you know is an issue because you can't afford to. I really do. I didn't have health insurance for a good part of time, and the worst thing is, like, my health insurance still doesn't cover a lot of my things. Like, mental health coverage is a huge issue, and I have I don't know if I've actually brought it up before. I probably have, but if I haven't, it's not a big deal, because I'm kind of, I'm like, it's kind of like a semi-open thing. I don't talk about it all of the time, but I don't mind talking about it. I'm bipolar, and I have been on medication for most of my life. So, like, I know how it is to avoid stuff, because it's really difficult for me to see a doctor even with insurance, because a lot of places, like, it doesn't fully cover it, and you really get screwed over on those doctor's visits and sometimes on your medication with that. So I know how easy it is to not go to a doctor for something even when you feel like you should. But if you are really, really, really having a reaction to something, if you feel like something is not right, you absolutely should do something about it, because it's just going to get worse if you avoid it. And I want everyone out there who's watching this in like, once I put it out, like, because obviously, like, this could be watched in a day, in 30 days, in 5 years, assuming YouTube lasts that long. Like, we hope it does, but we're always a little skeptical, because it's like, it's been a long time. YouTube's been around a long time. We don't know how much longer it's gonna last. Something else could come along. We never know. But, like, whenever you're watching this, this is relevant always. Go to see a doctor. If you're having a bad reaction to something, if you need something, if your body's doing something fucked up, if something is wrong, and because you don't want to let it get worse, because like this, I was told by my doctor that I really should have called the night before. I should have called the night before. I should have stopped the dose then, because there was a very real chance of me having an anaphylactic, I think that's what it, yeah, and like throat closure and shit like that, like going into anaphylactic shock, I believe is what it's called. I've never had it happen. So, I always forget. I get so self-conscious. I know what the fuck I'm talking about. I do, and I have a good grasp of the English language, but sometimes when I'm worried about something, or like like my brain overthinks a word for like 2 seconds too long, I'll be like, ugh, fuck, that might not be it, and I don't want to sound stupid, but I'm positive that's it, like I am. But yeah, like, I could have really died. I could have fucking died, because I went to sleep while I was having an allergic reaction, and that could have ended very badly. And I want everyone who's out there to take their health very seriously, because as much as the world sucks, not living is not a good thing. So, like, just take care of yourself and your health, and take your body seriously. And that's really all I wanted to talk about today. So I hope everyone has a good week, and I will see you guys soon. Bye.